It was January 1999 when we travelled to Castellón de la Plana, a small town on Spain's eastern coast, some 60 kilometres north of Valencia. It was here that we tracked down the young man we'd been looking for, someone who is being hailed as the next Seve Ballesteros, a 19-year-old golfer by the name of Sergio Garcia.
Seve is the greatest. He's always been very good to me. And he's a great player. What you really need is to have the capability to imagine playing the right shot. That's what makes Seve so good.
The second of three children, Sergio was introduced to the sport at the age of 3. Back in 1999, his father, Victor, was the pro at the Club Campo de Mediterráneo, and his mother, Consuelo, ran the pro shop.
Well, as you can see, my husband's the professional here, and I run the pro shop. So 15 days after Sergio was born, he was here. Before long, he started playing on the lawn with whatever he could find: a stick, a ball, a branch from a tree.
Sergio was still at school when we met up with him. A hectic tournament schedule for the budding amateur meant that he'd fallen behind with his studies. As a result, he was retaking his final year in school. Sergio and his parents were keen that if he didn't make it as a professional, he'd have his education to fall back on and could still go down the university route. But everyone who'd seen this 19-year-old play knew that his future lay in golf.
There's not a lot of pressure on me. I just try not to think about it. I simply go, play, and not worry about it. But I did start to notice that everybody's watching me. They keep saying, "Sergio, when's he going to turn pro? Is he going to be good or will he play badly?" But I just try to keep focused and try to play the best that I can.
At this stage in his career, Sergio was averaging rounds of 5 under on his par 72 home course. He drove the ball long off the tee with an unorthodox swing reminiscent of Ben Hogan, and the young Spaniard excelled with all the clubs in the bag. A few months on from our visit, he'd go on to shoot the lowest amateur score at the 1999 Masters tournament.
It's like if I go to the Masters and they say, "Are you going to survive the cut?" I'll say, "Of course I want to make the cut. But if I get the chance to win, I want to win." All the tournaments I go with the mentality of trying to win. Whatever happens, good or bad, I'll try my best.
When we met him back in January 1999, as well as thinking like a pro, Sergio had been training like one for the past 3 years. His fitness trainer, Enrique Beltran, believed in fast muscles rather than big muscles, so Sergio didn't overwork one side of his body. Perfect balance would equal perfect shots, and judging by his record at the time, his training regime was paying dividends. In 1996, Garcia played in the Open Championship, having qualified as the youngest European amateur champion in history. A year later, he finished either first or second in every amateur tournament that he entered. Sergio had already played in 13 professional tournaments, competing in Europe, the US, Mexico, and Argentina. His dad, Victor, who played on the European Tour with Seve Ballesteros back in the 1970s, had overseen his early career, and to this day, he remains his son's coach.
I think he's got that same aggression that Seve has. He also strikes the ball in a similar way to him, very hard. It's spectacular. There are a lot of similarities between them.
Sergio Garcia was supposed to be the next big thing in Spanish golf, but that hasn't really been the case. He turned pro after the 1999 Masters and was involved in a duel with Tiger Woods at that year's US PGA Championship, finishing runner-up. Many thought that it would be the first of many major shootouts between the two in the years ahead. Woods and Garcia have established a rivalry of sorts, but as recent events have shown, not one befitting the sport, with Garcia having to apologize for racially insensitive comments he made in reference to Woods. Will this week's US Open be the tournament at which he finally ends his major drought?